All right, we're live tonight. Wow, this is an exciting one. We got two icons, in my opinion, here. We got my co-host helping me out, Brett Big Schwag Wagner, and in my opinion, one of the greatest zombies of all time, Mike Christopher, the Hare Krishna zombie. So cool to have you on, man. And I was looking at things, and it seems this might be one of your first lives that I've ever seen you do on YouTube anyway. So
Yeah, I've never done live one.
oh wow! So this is
So,
the first. That's kind of
yeah,
exciting for that, man. That's sweet. We already got Michael Toth here. He's the artist who did that piece that I gave you at Spookala.
yeah, there you go. How's it going, man? Great being.
So welcome, Mike. Welcome. I know Vinny's. Oh, here's Vinny now. Oh, look at him. He's dressed up.
Look
Oh
at
my
that.
God.
Welcome,
Hideous,
Vinny. Welcome.
hideous, hideous.
That thing is tight.
I was
Yeah.
like, did Vinny shave his head for this? Did Vinny go all out?
What's
I
going
know
on, guys?
Vinny's been
Yeah.
excited about this too. I'm
Are
sure
you
he's
kidding
going to
me,
tell you
man?
all about it. Yeah, yeah. Well, you've seen some of the. Oh, look at that. He's got Sal's wig.
Oh, cool.
I see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks kind of familiar.
Speaking of Sal, here he is. We got Sal here tonight. We got Half Cheeto of You. So we're with the legend, Michael Christopher, will be at Phantasm August 19th through the 21st. And I guess the best way to get this started is I actually did a little research, some of the stuff that you talked about, and me and you had a great talk when the other night for a good, half hour, 45 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. And we even said at the end, it's like, man, I wish I streamed it because you told me some amazing stories, some really fun stories. It was a really
Yeah,
great conversation.
I might not have told you some of that stuff if you were streaming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, you can talk about whatever you want, but I guess the best thing to go on is when you made this movie back in '78. The way horror's grown with these conventions, how blown away are you by it? I know you spoke about it before, but I'll let you tell it.
Well, I didn't. I did my first horror convention in 2008. So I had no idea up to that point that there were even horror conventions going on. Um, my mom got a call after I did an interview for a magazine somewhere, and they used my family name, which is not Christopher. And so Bill Philpott, who was with Sean Clark, they had an agency out in Los Angeles, and they got celebrities for the horror conventions. He tracked my mom down from this article where I used my family name, and he said, "Hey, you know the Hare Krishna zombie?" And she said, "Yeah, it's my son." He says, "Why?" He said, "Well, I want to get a hold of him. Can I get his phone number?" And she said, "Well, why don't you give me your phone number and I'll have him call you." So so I called the guy up and he said, "Hey, are you really the Hare Krishna zombie?" I said, "Yeah, I am." Well, why aren't you doing horror conventions? I said, "What's a horror convention?" He said, "Well, it's kind of like a Star Trek convention, except it's for actors in horror movies and stuff." I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." He says, "Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, something?" I said, "Well, what would I do there?" He said, "Well, you sign autographs." And I said, "Well, I don't even have anything to sign, you know." And he said, "Well, can you make screenshots?" And I said, "Yeah, I was a graphic artist for about 7 years. I just lost my job." And he said, "Well, yeah, you go to hotels and convention centers and stuff." Like, man, I can't afford to go to convention centers. I just lost my job. He said, "No, they'll actually pay you, pay for your room and they'll pay for your flight and everything, and they'll bring you out to these conventions." I said, "Yeah, sure." So we printed up a couple hundred pictures, and I did I guess my first horror convention was in Dallas, Texas, and it was in 2008. And they just had a major snowstorm there. So when I get up in the morning, I'm not thinking about snow. I get up in the morning and I turn on the television, and I see all flights out of Tampa are canceled. I'm like, oh, great. My first tour convention, all the flights out of Tampa are canceled. So there was a snowstorm there, and the planes couldn't land because they didn't have any snow clearing equipment because it's in Texas, and that hardly ever snows down there. So they had to wait till the runways cleared out from the sun before they could land planes. Well, luckily, my plane took off like 1 or 2 minutes after noon, and they canceled all the flights before noon. So I was the first flight out of Tampa that went down to Texas. So I actually made that convention. But there were a lot of people didn't make it. There was hardly anyone showed up for Friday. So Friday was basically canceled. And I was sitting around in the hotel lobby that night, and this kid comes up to me and he goes, "Man, I can't believe I made it." He said, "I came here just to see you." He said, "I totaled my car on some black ice, but I still made it." So I'm going, this is what happens at horror conventions.
I got a question for you, Mike.
Sure.
So, being as I am almost 55 years old. I got into acting because of movies like Dawn of the Dead, and did you realize when you guys were shooting this how iconic a movie it was going to be? Did you have any idea that this movie that you just got a gig on was going to be like one of the biggest horror movies of all time?
Well, I had no idea that it was going to be a big horror movie, and I had no idea what the movie was about. I mean, we had all seen, Night of the Living Dead because it played, on the movie channels. We had a horror movie channel called Chiller Theater, and the host was Chilly Billy Cardilli, and that was Laurie Cardill's father from Day of the Dead. So we all knew about horror movies because we all watched Chiller Theater, and of course I saw Night of the Living Dead, but I had no idea what Dawn of the Dead was about. I mean, it was just I showed up. I'd never seen the script. I didn't even know what my part was. They just asked me if I wanted to be a Hare Krishna zombie. I said, sure. He said, if you don't want to because of the religious crossover, you don't have to do it. We'll understand. I said, no, it's fine. I was chased down the street by Hare Krishnas already, trying to get me to give them some money, And I had gone out to their I don't know what they called it. It was not an ashram, but they had a temple, and every Sunday they had a vegetarian feast, and you could go out there and listen to their rap and try to get some money out of you, but you just make a donation and have dinner with them. So I was kind of familiar with the whole Krishna religious thing, and I even had my own Bhagavad Gita. I think they conned me out of $20 for that. So I knew a little bit about it, but yeah. I had a bald head at the time, which is how I actually got the part. And George was looking for a unique zombie because he said he didn't want, for that particular scene, he didn't want to have somebody in blue jeans and a plaid shirt. There was too many zombies with blue jeans and plaid shirts, so he wanted to have something a little bit, different and unique.
You picked the right guy because your look has gone on as one of the most legendary looks of any zombie ever.
Yeah, there's not another Hare Krishna zombie in any of the movies, so I guess at least up till now I'm unique.
You're the one and only. The
Yeah.
one and only.
I was actually going to ask him whose idea it was.
Yeah, it was George's idea, I guess. I mean, I never talked to him directly about whose idea it was, but I know that he wanted a unique-looking zombie for that part.
I mean, by far.
Between you and Flyboy.
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, by far. I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, your role is the Hare Krishna zombie is goes down and top 20 deals of all time as far as a character. I mean, everybody knows your character in that movie. I mean, how long did it take to get you that color? Or is that just trickery with the magic, or was that a ton of makeup?
Well, we used a grease paint for the film, and it was gray. It wasn't blue. It turned gray. I mean, it turned blue because of the lights, and I guess the the developing or whatever. I never really found out exactly why it looks blue in some of the scenes, but if you look a lot of the pictures of Krishna, he's blue. So I don't know. There might have been some kind of cosmic energy leaking in that actually turned my gray makeup blue.
That's like
That's what
Flyboy. He looks green in some pictures.
Yeah.
I watched the documentary because I had to find out all the info I could on the inside too. And Savini said, yeah, it was definitely the lighting,
Yeah.
and
You
that's
ever
what
watch
caused it because it was gray.
You ever watch the Roy Frumke's video?
Hmm.
He made it actually at the time when the movie was being filmed.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, he did it's an extra on the 4 DVD set. He's
Oh,
walking
cool.
around with George Romero, walking around the mall, talking about it and stuff, and what the premise was and how it was with the commercialism back in the day and the malls just starting out, and how he developed the idea. He had a buddy. George said that he had a buddy that owned the Monroeville Mall.
Yeah, I
And
think it was
so,
one of the investors.
yeah, you guys had to film like overnight, huh? When
Oh, yeah,
everything closed.
it was all at night, and it kind of carried over a little bit to the morning. In the morning, they had a senior group that
Yeah,
used to come into the mall and walk and go because these people could walk around the mall
yeah,
and
exercise.
get their exercises, and a lot of times they ran into the zombies getting ready to leave.
And those bikers were actually real bikers.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you
They
might as
were,
well use real bikers, right?
yeah.
I got another follow-up question for you, Mike. So, after you got that little, I mean, I don't know how much work you had done before, but after you got that, after Dawn of the Dead, did you get the bug and want to continue doing some acting, or?
Well, I was actually a musician in a band called Fluid, and we all had our heads shaved. We did a theatrical stage performance. It was kind of uh, a space themed show. We actually beamed onto the stage in a plexiglass tube, and we had geodesic domes that we built around our keyboards. So we had this thing going, and everybody in the band had a bald head, like so we looked like aliens. And we got our picture to see. I guess it was um, Lenny Lee's brother, Michael Lee's, and Joe Shelby, who was Martinez.
Yeah,
When he comes out with the silver plated or the nickel plated 45
on
on
the
a
roof.
rooftop. Yeah, between the two of them, they got Fluid's band picture to George Romero, and that's how he picked the saxophone player was the airport zombie, and I got the role as the Hare Krishna zombie.
Oh, really?
I yeah,
Oh, that's cool. I
actually
met him.
the first time they asked me to be a zombie, they thought I was going to be a helicopter zombie, and then they called me. I guess a couple months before I got the Hare Krishna zombie role, they said, "Well, we got somebody else for the helicopter zombie, and don't worry, we'll find something else for you." Then I was crushed, because I thought I was going to get my head chopped off by the helicopter blade. But
Yeah, that was Jim Krypt,
Tom,
I think his name was.
yeah, Jim Krypt, and he was going to Carnegie Mellon with Tom Savini, and so they
I
were
met
able to
him.
work. Yeah, they were able to work on the prosthetic together because they were in close proximity all the time because at they were both at Carnegie Mellon, and I was way out in McKeesport, so I was really far away from the college scene. So it would have been a big headache for me to get back and forth out there. I didn't even have a car at the time. We were just living in this in this house and rehearsing for the movie. I mean for the with the band. Now, when we originally got picked for the roles, we were living in a 1,500 seat theater in McKeesport. It was called the New Leona Theater, and we moved in there. We moved into the basement of the theater. We got it for $75 a month, and I think Joe Shelby got us that deal. And we were rehearsing it for $75 a month. The whole band, we were rehearsing there all the time. So eventually, we just moved in. we had guys sleeping in the dressing rooms, and we had people sleeping on the floor of the rehearsal area, and me and the other keyboard player, Sticks Hayden, we shut down the whole water to the building one night, and it was a big, huge water main, and we turned off the water to the whole building. We put in a shower, barely got the thing on before everybody woke up the next day. But it was a great little theater, 1,500 seat theater. We once they stopped playing movies. They stopped playing movies because nobody was showing up. They showed Jaws like there for $1, and they stopped showing movies because nobody was coming, and the movie people moved out. And when the movie people moved out, we moved upstairs, and we rehearsed the whole Fluid show for a couple months on the stage in a 1,500 seat theater.
That must have been great, just playing with the sound and everything, and
it was
the
fantastic.
acoustics.
Yeah, for $75.
Hey,
Can't beat that.
Can't go wrong, $75. No, and you had a place to live and a few people to split it with. Hey, yeah, the setup.
All the popcorn we could steal.
Talk about, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie was definitely when all the bikers came running in and it was all hectic. What kind of night? Was that? A couple different nights when the bikers were raiding the place and you guys were cruising?
I imagine it was, but I had really a real small involvement with it. I had 2 nights in the mall where they did some establishing shots, and then probably a 3-hour shoot in the hideout, which actually was not in the Monroeville Mall. That was in George Romero's office building. And the stairway was in the mall, but the door that Fran was pushing on when I came through the door, that was not in the mall.
It went to the roof.
No, it was just an unused floor in George Romero's office building.
No, I'm saying in the movie, the staircase went to the roof, right? But they filmed the upstairs in George Romero's building.
After the movie was shot, I was never on the staircase.
That's like when they did Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
They did the basement scene in their office building basement.
Yeah.
For Night of the Living Dead. And they had all kinds of archive films down there and all kinds of stuff, but it got ruined, I guess, because it got flooded.
Wow.
How did you get the role?
Well, between Michael Lees and Joe Shelby, they got a band picture to George Romero, and he picked the saxophone player for the Airport Zombie, and he picked me as the helicopter zombie, and then they changed their mind, and then I got the Hare Krishna zombie role. But see, he wanted a special zombie for the zombie that found the hideout, because a lot of people don't realize that was a real pivotal point. It was a real important scene in the movie, because up until that point, Galen was real timid. She had a baby and she was just like this woman that was tagging along, and she was like a burden to the group. But then after the scene with Hare Krishna zombie attacking her and trying to kill her, she learns to shoot, which was a lot of women aren't even partial to owning guns and learning how to shoot guns, even 50 years later almost. But she learned how to shoot, she learned how to fly the helicopter, and she accepted responsibility for her future, which was not a typical movie theme at that point.
Yeah, it changed her whole attitude.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah, it was a great scene. The way she grew as a character was one of my favorite parts in the movie, and that was her first role also.
Yeah.
So, with acting, was it something like, you were a musician? Did you have any real drive to become an actor, or was it just music all the way?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was when I was a kid. My parents, we went out to buy a piano, and it was right when the home organs came out. My mom fell in love with the home organ, so we ended up coming home with a home organ. I took organ lessons for a while, and then we had a Catholic church that was right down the street, and I went to Catholic grade school, and I tried to get a job working at the church as a church organist, and I actually had a crush on the organist's daughter. Her name was Nancy Bell. You can imagine that. And I called Mrs. Bell one day, who was a church organist, and I said, I've been studying organ for a long time, and I'd really like to, offer my services playing some of the church services. And she said, turned me down. I mean, she hated the fact that I liked her daughter. Um, Absolutely not. You will never be an organist. I said, okay, fine. I'll give it to you. It was just something I thought it would be cool to do. I mean, had no dreams of becoming a church organist anyway, but it was just something I thought I would do. So a month later, she calls me on the phone and she said, "Hi, this is Mrs. Bell." She says, "Remember when you asked me if you could play some of the services at church?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Are you still interested?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" She said, "Because my husband got transferred and we're leaving in a month. Do you think you could learn all the music in a month?" So she split in a month, and me and my mom we used to sing high masses. She sang the soprano and I sang alto. We used to sing masses in Latin and I played the organ. I was at church every day. Some days I played 2 services during the week. On Sundays I played 4 services. And after I got out of high school, I used to drive I used to drive all night with my rock band and get in bed like 2 hours before I had to play the first service. I would go down to the church for 7:39, 10:30, and 12 o'clock mass, and then it would crash for the rest of the day. And then around 5 o'clock, I'd get up, grab dinner, jump in the van, and take the van up to the guitar player's house or the basement of my parents' house, and unload all the equipment, set it up, and rehearse for a couple of hours. So I was really involved in the music end of it. I had no idea about being an actor. So I so I show up and I got to get in character for this role. I'm trying to think of what the hell could I do. So there's a security guard comes walking along, and I say to the guy, "Hey, I was completely in costume. I said, "Hey, man, would you like to buy some incense?" He goes, "No, man, I don't have any money. I leave my wallet in my locker in case I have to chase the criminal. I could lose my wallet." I said, "Come on, man, it's just $1." He said, "No, man, I don't. I don't have my wallet on me. It's back in the locker. I didn't have any incense anyway." I said, "Oh, come on, man, you got a job. I know you have a fucking dollar." He goes, "No, really, man, I don't have any money on me. You people are all alike." And I turned around and I stormed off. And then he starts chasing me. And he goes, "No, really, man, I want your incense, but I don't have any money on me." So I completely flipped the tables because the Hare Krishna zombies would be always, I mean, the Hare Krishnas would always be trying to get you to get their incense and ask for donation. And they would chase you down the street asking for money. So now I had the normal people chasing the Krishna down the street trying to give them money. So I figured
Sounds
now,
like you would have been an asset to the Hare Krishna group.
yeah, right.
You would have been a
now
superstar not only in Dawn of the Dead, but in real life as the Krishna.
in real life, yeah, right.
Did you catch the acting bug? Was there any other acting gigs after that for you?
Well, I went out to Los Angeles right after Dawn of the Dead premiered, and I worked for a company called Laserium, and I did laser light shows. I traveled around doing laser light shows. I did laser light shows in a whole bunch of planetariums, and I talked to the people that I worked with out there. And I said, "Hey, I was in this horror movie called Dawn of the Dead in Pittsburgh, and I wonder if I can get some acting roles out here in Los Angeles." And they said, "Would you have any lines?" I said, "No, I didn't have any lines, man. I was a zombie. Zombies don't talk. I said, "No, in order to get into movies out in California, you have to be in the Screen Actors Guild, and you can't get in the guild." I mean, it was real strict back then. This was, late '70s, very early '80s. You have to be in the Screen Actors Guild, or else you can't get a Screen Actors Guild card if you don't have any lines. So I mean, it wasn't people running around with video cameras shooting movies. There's some 16 millimeter stuff, but it wasn't really stuff that was pay a lot. And I was really tied up traveling around with all this laser stuff, so I didn't really pursue it anymore. I did get into a couple of movies whenever I moved to Tampa. There was an unusual underground film scene down there, and me and my wife did a bunch of independent movies down there. But other than Dawn of the Dead, I was in The Uh-Oh Show, which was one of Herschel Gordon Lewis's movies, and I was in a remake of Plan 9 from Outer Space. But and then I moved up here in the country between Orlando and Daytona Beach, and I haven't really found a whole lot, going on out here. I got a regular job now, and I'm really not pursuing the acting stuff. I'm more getting back into my music, maybe doing some soundtrack work.
That'd be really cool. There's a lot more filming going on in Florida that I've noticed lately. I think because of the taxes, probably a lot of people want to go down there and film. It seems anyway. I know quite a few people that are involved. A buddy of mine, Dennis Mallon, he does a lot of acting, commercial acting and stuff out there.
Yeah.
But so, how long has it been since you performed music out?
Well, I did one live show, a New Age shop. I put out a cassette out in Los Angeles called Suspended Thoughts, and I performed that music in a New Age store out in Studio City. That was the last time I performed.
I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Now, you said you and another band member were in Dawn of the Dead.
Right. Paul
Did
Musser.
you guys ever dress up on stage as your characters at a show?
No.
No, that would have been cool.
No, we did a space theme show. So we had a whole different vibe going whenever we were on stage. And by the time we did our parts in Dawn of the Dead, the band had already pretty much broken up.
We got to bring the band back together again. It's time, Mike. Come on.
Yep.
No, it ain't gonna happen. The bass player died. Paul Musser's got a bad attitude whereas I'm concerned.
That's how bands are.
Somebody said that I made a bad comment about him, which I never made, on the internet. And when he saw me, or when he got a hold of me, he kind of insulted me. I think we might have patched it up, but I traded autographs with him at the mall show a couple years ago, and we shook hands. I mean, we're on speaking terms. But the singer's an ultra liberal, and I talked to him once. I talked to him once, and I said, he said, "You have guns?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got a gun, And I said, "Don't you?" He said, "Oh, no, I would never have a gun." I said, "Why wouldn't you never have a gun?" He said, "What would you do? If somebody broke into your house, how would you protect your family?" He said, "Well, I think good thoughts."
Do your guns shoot 1,000 rounds a second?
You think good thoughts. I said, "Well, how in the hell is that going to protect you?" I talked to another Dawn of the Dead. I mean, not Dawn of the Dead. Another George Romero actress in one of the movies. I'm not gonna say who she was. She's real famous, but I don't want to say who she is. And I met her at a convention, and I said, do you have a gun? She said, "Oh, no, I'd never have a gun." I said, "Well, why would you never have a gun?" I said, "What happens if somebody would break into your house and was going to kill you?" She said, "Well, I would reason with them." And I said, somebody breaks into your house in the middle of the night, they're already unreasonable. That's kind of the definition of
Reason was thrown
unreasonable.
out the window.
Somebody breaks into your house in the middle of the night, I'm just going to talk them out of it.
Now they tell you to run out the back door and let them take whatever they want. I don't think so.
Yeah, no. I pretty much don't get involved with. Well, actually, one of the main reasons that I really don't follow up with any of the acting stuff is, I mean, all these actors and actresses, they all get pissed off and they read my Facebook page and they hate my guts and they block me. because I'm not a liberal anymore. I mean, I used to be, I used to be kind of a liberal. Uh, I investigated the Students for a Democratic Society when I was in high school and when I was in college. I mean, I found out later on they're a bunch of communists, which is all that democratic socialism is. It's just forerunners trying to smooth over the fact that the communists want to take everything. I mean, these people think that whenever the Democrats talk about share the wealth, they think they're going to share all the money with the poor people. No, what they mean is they're going to take the money from the poor people. They're going to take the money from the middle class. They're going to take the money from the upper class, and they're going to give it all to the elite. That's sharing the wealth, But they don't understand any of that. And they don't want to understand anything about it either, So
You can't talk to them.
I lost almost all of my movie friends.
Well, you still have a few movie friends there, Mike.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
I want to ask you about since it was an iconic role and everybody knows you, they're making masks now. There's masks. It's your mug on these masks. What do you feel about? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's great. I hear there's only a limited number of those left. There's none of the action figures left.
Yeah, those are expensive. I was looking them up.
I actually have one you signed.
All right, cool. Where did I sign it?
I got it at I went to Pennsylvania and I went to the Monroeville Mall and they have that store in there. I guess it's the museum now.
Yeah.
And they had it hanging on the wall for like $30. I said, "Oh, cool! I'll add it to my collection of Dawn of the Dead memorabilia and autographs." And I picked up the Night of the Living Dead book signed by John Russo at that store. So that's how I ended up getting it.
Yeah, I was buying them for a while. I was buying them anytime I could find them under $50. I would buy one. But now I can't find.
They said you signed it when you were at the mall.
Right. Yeah, he had a couple of them, and I signed a bunch of them for him.
And I saw it. I said, "Oh, I got to get it. Definitely."
Yeah.
I mean, I plan on meeting you someday, hopefully.
Yeah. Let's hope.
At a convention.
I'd love to see Vinny fly in.
If you can make it to Phantasm, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I would definitely love to go.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll be back. Is that your next convention? Is that Phantasm the next convention you're going to be at? Yeah,
that's probably about the only one I'm going to be doing. Unless I do the Ocala one again, I'm not sure. But they asked me to be a regular at Phantasm.
Yeah, they're a bunch of good guys there, Anthony.
That's great. Hopefully he'll be back there, Mr. Krypt Keeper, in 2023 when I'm out there.
I'm definitely. I know I'm going to be out there. It's one of those ones where my parents live in Florida. I'm a big fan of Anthony Greco and Roy. We're like family now. Fantastic.
Yeah, they're great guys. Yeah.
Yeah, real straight up, real nice guys. I love the convention there, and but the funny thing is, the horror freak in your family is not you. That's your wife.
Yeah.
She's the horror one. You are a sci-fi guy.
Right. Yeah, when I actually met my wife 14 years ago, and Shade Burnett, we got married a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was the 7th of June. And we met 14 years ago on the 7th of June. I was atmosphere in a bar scene, and the guy that filmed that movie, he asked me to come out, and he said, I'm doing a show, a film festival for this other movie that I did called Alarm. And he said, if you want, you can, set up in a little table up in the lobby. You can sell some autographs if you want, just you were in one of my movies, and I'd, let you come out and do that. So, so I showed up at the film festival, and my wife was there, and she said, "Hey, I'm doing a show called The Underground Lounge, and she wanted me to be in it." And she picked up a T-shirt of mine, and she told me that I was always her favorite zombie. Now, when she lived in Denver, she was in Denver whenever Dawn of the Dead came out, and her and her friends used to go to the Dawn of the Dead theaters and watch the movie dressed up like zombies. That's before anybody was ever doing that. And I was always their favorite zombie. So I said, well, that's pretty cool. So uh, the next weekend, we both did a screen test for another movie that we're supposed to be shooting down in the Tampa area, but it never came together. So it's really weird because one weekend I met her at the film festival. The next weekend I met her at a screen test, and we started talking. And she said, "Well, you're the Hare Krishna zombie. What horror movies do you like?" I said, "Well, I don't really watch horror movies." She said, "You don't? You're the Hare Krishna zombie. You don't watch horror movies?" I said, "No, I don't." She said, "Well, if you're going to be going to these conventions, you really should watch some of the more famous horror movies so you know when you meet these people, you know who they are." So I said, "Yeah, sure." So I came over to her place, and she had about 300 horror movies, DVDs and VCRs and stuff, and VHSs. And I said, "Yeah, okay." So we watched some at her place and watched some at my place, and next thing you know, we became a couple, and 13 years later, we got married.
What a great pickup line. You're my favorite zombie.
Yeah, right. Well,
That's awesome. I
that
also,
also
another question I got is,
okay.
do you, so when you do a convention or two, do you find it humbling when these people come up to you and they're just like ginormous fans and they're like, "Oh, you're my favorite guy," and they want signed pictures? How do you feel about that?
Well, the very first convention that I went to in Texas, the one with the snow and stuff, I'm sitting there at my table and I noticed this girl over in the corner, and she's actually standing. What's that? Michael Graves. She was standing right next to Michael Graves' table, and she has a shirt on with a big heart, and it goes, "I heart zombies." So she didn't notice me, and I motioned for her to come over. She looked at me, and I pointed to her. I said, "Come on over." She, "Me?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, if somebody says I heart zombies and she's not talking to me, that's kind of weird. So she walks up to the table and she starts looking at my pictures, and she like almost had some kind of a seizure. She starts shaking, and her eyes get big, and she's going, "You're my favorite zombie." And here I am hearing it again. God, these people have favorite zombies. I absolutely had no idea for what was it, 30 years. I had no idea any of this was going on, and all of a sudden there's people that I'm their favorite zombie.
It's gotta blow your mind, like, because
Yeah,
I imagine it was one of those roles where, oh, it was cool. I'm in a movie, and I'm playing the Hare Krishna zombie. That's kind of cool, but what it
yeah.
became the movie as far as legendary goes, and where zombies are now. I mean, since Romero, have you watched any, like, say, The Walking Dead or some of these newer zombie films? What are your thoughts on any of those?
Well, my favorite newer zombie film is Colin. It was done by a guy named Mark Price over in the UK. I think he spent like 100 pounds on on putting the movie together. He had to buy some tools, to swing at the zombies and stuff. But check it out if you can. It's called Colin, Colin. Mark Price, I think 2008 maybe. He said that the Hare Krishna zombie was actually part of the impetus for making the movie, because the movie it's a zombie movie, but from the perspective of the guy who turns into a zombie, and how he looks at the world, and the world hates him, and he's just trying to make it, and he got turned into a zombie, and as he's turning, he picks up on all the hate that the world has towards zombies. It's really good movie.
That's funny. Me and Vinny were speaking about something last night that would have been
Funny as hell, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you about it off stream. I think you think it's
Yeah.
hilarious, but
There's so
yeah,
many
it was
things
some.
that could be done with that.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. I didn't realize what time it was. I mentioned to Brett, I think I got an idea for something for you too. And he's like, probably like, oh, I hope I didn't wake him. Look at him. He's
Yeah.
ready to kill me with a chainsaw right now. I can tell the death stare. But
But I thought I was going to get a part on the Walking Dead, and I have to admit I did waste a lot of time watching all those damn episodes. Even after I lost interest in the in the program, I still kept watching them because I wanted to find out,
Yeah, it was.
what
It was.
what it was going to turn, how it's going to turn out. But I'll be honest with you. I'll be glad when it's over. And
Yeah,
I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed with the production team that they didn't bring back the iconic zombies and give them a role in it. I mean, they could have put me in an orange bathrobe, had me shuffling
that would have
around
been cool.
They could have at
somewhere,
least done. They could
But
have
they
done
didn't.
like a nod to your character because they did a lot of zombies during that show. They did the plaid shirt zombie.
Yeah, but they
And
didn't use the plaid shirt zombie, and they didn't
no,
use Bob, and they didn't use me, and they didn't use Lenny Lee's, and they didn't use any of the people that were there in the beginning, and they just capitalized on the whole damn thing, and they sent all their actors to the conventions, and they sucked all the money out of the conventions. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many times people came up to me at a convention and said, "Man, I really want your autograph, but I just spent all my money on The Walking Dead, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars." And they never hung out at the pool parties with the guests, and they never hung out at the bars with the guests, and they just came in here, they just vacuumed everybody's wallets out and took off. I mean,
They never
I don't
slept with any of the guests. I mean, come on. What are they thinking
it.
about?
Leaving
never
the
Throw them a
coconuts
bone or
hanging.
something.
they never slept with me, that's for sure.
Hey, so while we're talking about Dawn of the Dead, Michael, what did you think about the remake of Dawn of the Dead with Ving Rhames and everybody?
I thought it was a good movie in its own right. I thought it was the baby thing was really disgusting, and it was putrid. I think turning the SWAT guys into mall cops was an asinine choice. I liked the fact whenever they communicated from rooftop to rooftop. I thought that was really cool. Um, I don't like fast zombies at all. I think I mean, how do they get a run? I mean, honestly, how do they get a run? They're reanimated corpses, and if they're running, their bones are going to break and the skin's going to fly off the bones. I mean, the whole thing about the zombie is they're plotting, and they're plotting, and there's just so many of them that you can't.
they're
Just the
continuing to
sheer
rot. Exactly.
right, the sheer weight of it. The sheer
Yep.
weight of all those zombies coming after a few people. That's where you get the tension, not because they're running. You know.
That
But
is the debate, Mike. That is the debate, whether it's the original Romero slow walking zombie, or you go
yeah,
into the zombies that can run, and that's been a debacle for a long time. I personally do not think a zombie should be running fast because I think it takes away from, like you said. Then you start thinking about it. Well, how could a zombie be running?
right. And the dumbest zombie movie of all is a World War Z with that, or not World War Z, that the Brad Pitt zombie movie.
That's
What was
World
it?
War
Yeah,
Z.
that's
Yeah.
what
World War
they
Z.
not only go. They're not only fast. They get superhuman speed.
Well, they're climbing
Right.
on top of each other, going over walls.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like the part where they climbed over that really big wall. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I can't really rephrase this so it won't sound anti-Semitic. So I'm not going to say anything about it. But my favorite comment about that movie is I really liked all the scenes with the helicopter. The scenes with the helicopters, I like those scenes.
You're a
But
helicopter fan. The helicopter
yeah,
memories, huh?
right.
On an angle with the blades.
Yeah, but I mean, all the scenes with the helicopters, they came out really good. But the Pepsi cans or the Coke cans or whatever it was in the movies, and the plot, it just I didn't really care for that. Didn't really care for
I
that.
haven't read the book. I heard the book was much better, but
They
Yeah.
always are.
yeah, it usually is. Yeah, I mean, it's zombies the way they are now. I mean, it's just got to be amazing to you. Where there was Night of the Living Dead and then Dawn of the Dead. Zombie movies and zombie shows, and especially like the last 10, 15 years, it had that big resurgence with The Walking Dead.
Well,
A lot of people.
to be honest with you, I'm over the whole thing. I think it's over. It's way overdone. The fact that they're doing Walking Dead spinoffs is absurd. The fact that
Yeah,
the fact that they still haven't wrapped it up yet is
Well,
absurd. And
it's boring now too.
yeah, I don't even understand it. You can't get the original show right. You guys have been so off, and they've diluted the budget on it with AMC, and it shows. I love the Walking Dead. My favorite was up until when they finally left the prison, and after there were some really good moments and decent, moments like when Carl got his eye shot out, and it was the same thing in the comic before. It just went downhill right after.
Right after Negan.
well,
Yeah.
when Rick didn't kill the governor, that was it. That was I just lost it on that. And the other thing that I really hated about the show is whenever they were in that hospital. Remember the hospital where they took Carol to that hospital,
Yeah.
and then they had that little girl that was like had the conflict with the cop that was in charge of the hospital, and she tried to
Yeah.
stab her. She tried to stab her with the embroidery
Yeah.
scissors. I mean, if you had to kill the girl, fine. Have an accident where she got caught in the crossfire. Um, but it's just so many of the plot lines were just the
I think
wrong
that's where it
the wrong
lost
way
me too.
the wrong way to deal with it. And they didn't make Rick into a hero. Rick should have been a hero. I mean, but he kept fucking up. And then Rick and God, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Shane.
Daryl.
No, Daryl. Rick and Daryl, they get into a fight and they lose that whole truck full of ammunition.
Yeah.
And then Daryl takes off on his own and he tries to blow up Negan's. I mean, it's just if you're gonna do a thing like that, you gotta have some heroes. You gotta have some people giving hope. You gotta show some survival techniques. They did that for a season where they actually show you how to build a fire and you put holes in the ground so you create a draft so the fire keeps burning hot. I mean, they could have done survival techniques throughout the whole show and made it something useful, But
I agree. I mean, I got the point where they kind of grew up from Shane and Rick becoming more like Shane to survive, and Shane wasn't so wrong and Rick wasn't so right, but did not have any real evolution and just almost a downward spiral, like you said.
Yeah.
I think we have
a lot of the characters didn't grow.
Well, the longer
Carol never grew.
Right.
Daryl never really
The
grew.
longer it goes,
It's like the same cycle.
Ideas they have.
yeah,
They run out of ideas because it goes on for so long. It just goes on and on.
Well,
and on.
yeah.
What do we do now?
I mean, anything longer
But
than
that's what
5
they start
seasons
with
is too
stupid
long.
shit.
Well, I
They
think we
might-
got a new job
might
for
not.
you, Mike. Forget the musician. It's Mike Christopher, TV and film critic.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
And you can dress up like the Hare Krishna zombie when you do it.
Yeah.
yeah, right. There you go.
What brand apple juice are you drinking there, Mike?
Bourbon.
The old bourbon apple tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that the tree
Snapple
that
bourbon
leans?
flavor.
And it helps my vocal cords. 'Cause I'm talking so
Those
much.
trees lean.
I usually don't talk in the course of the day. I really don't talk that much. I read a lot. And I play music, so I don't really talk.
That's all right. Hey, listen, I unfortunately I have to run because I am flying to Kansas City in the morning. But I'm glad that John got me invited to come on and say hello to you. And as I said, you without a doubt are one of the most iconic characters in horror movie history, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, well,
You just got to take it. I appreciate you. I hope to meet you at one of these conventions and get some stuff signed myself because I am a fan of yours. And God bless you. And save some of those bourbon apples for me.
all right. Yeah, I got plenty of those.
You want to give a shout out to your Kansas City event? I know I'm going to be seeing you there.
Yeah, this weekend, Saturday the 25th, the 3rd annual Gustero Clubhouse Bike Show. We're going to be at the Wagon Wheel Mobile Home Park in Gwinnett, Kansas City. And
All
the
right.
Krypt keeper himself, John's going to be there. Doomsday's Krypt's going to be coming down to visit me. A big chopper show, a lot of motorcycles, and, of course, Indian tacos. which I'm going to turn you on to, which are my favorite thing in the whole world to eat. So Kansas City, Missouri, I just got to get up early and fly, and I haven't packed yet. So, but Mike, pleasure talking with you, man. I appreciate you. And if we can ever get another movie going and we got some money on it, we're going to get you back in there on the big screen sometime soon.
All right. Sounds
That's
good,
what
man.
I want to see.
Thanks, guys.
Brett.
All right.
Big
Take care. Have a
Schwag,
good trip.
Lost Leatherface. Brett Wagner.
All right.
Yeah, great guy. Great guy. Yeah, I'm excited to meet you again at Phantasm now that we had a chance to talk, because I was at one end, you were kind of in the middle, and I was back and forth, and I got a chance to come down there, show you that art by Michael Toth.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish I had a little bit more time, but I'll definitely have more time at Phantasm to show you some stuff. And you see Vinny's bus. We got something in the works that's going to be, I mentioned to you that Vinny, who's an incredible talent out there, yeah, he's got something in the works that's going to be really cool.
All right. We lost him.
Oh, he disconnected himself.
He pulled the plug.
He kicked himself out of the stream.
All right. Can you get him back?
He'll be back. Yeah, he'll hop back in. I know he will. Yeah. So what was that sci-fi show you were telling me about? I totally forgot because we talked about so much stuff.
The Expanse.
The Expanse, and you said it's on Amazon, right?
Amazon Prime, yeah. It started out on Sci-Fi, but they couldn't keep up with the budget, and it almost got deleted. But they ended up selling it to Amazon Prime, and good thing because there he is.
I moved the stupid camera. I was saying that I'm going to add you to the collection.
Hey, all right.
I got to move stuff to get you in there, but I'll get you in there.
Yeah.
Freddie's got to go, huh?
You've got a lot of stuff.
Well, Pumpkinhead's going to a new home, so he won't be here anymore.
He said he was going to clear out some room. I bought a bunch of stuff, and the next thing I know, because Vinny is a huge Dawn of the Dead fan. How many times did you say you saw it? 100 times? You're always watching them when you work.
They played it back in like 1980 at the drive-in with Dawn of the Dead Zombie. And it was $5 a carload, and they played it basically all summer. We went every weekend. And then I used to watch it every Sunday during the 80s and 90s. Every Sunday I used to watch Dawn of the Dead.
Wow.
So it's my favorite movie of all time.
You've seen it more than I have, that's for sure.
Probably, yeah. A lot of times I put it on though when I'm working on something, and for background noise and whatnot. If I'm working on something, I put on Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I could recite the whole movie. Basically, I've seen it so many times, but I could still watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I always find something new too. Not always, but a lot of times I find something new that I missed before.
Right.
Like a mess up or something, or like, what should have been an outtake or whatever.
Well, did you ever notice how close Brand came to my face with the flare?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there was...
was that actually Fran, or was that somebody else doing it?
No, the flare, that was her. She, I think she really got into it because she jammed that damn thing right in my face. The sparks were bouncing off my glasses, and the sparks were bouncing off my costume. And I started worrying about the costume catching on fire. We didn't do any rehearsal for that. It was just all one shot, move the camera, another shot, move the camera, another shot. And then the hot sulfur sparks fell down on the floor, and I had to walk on it. So I was actually walking on those still glowing hot sulfur sparks. But by the time that part of the scene was over, I was almost tempted to yell "cut," because my feet were getting burnt. But I said, no, just go with it. You'll recover,
See,
but
they
it was
kill
weird
zombies for real in their movies.
because I didn't even get to enjoy my scene because I was worried about catching on fire and getting my feet burnt.
Yeah, that had as being a zombie, you can only show so much reaction. So that must have really tested your skills, especially.
Well, I had to put my hands up, just to try to keep that flare away, because she was shoving it right in my face,
So that was kind of something that really wasn't like a movement you kind of planned for as Hare Krishna zombie. That's just your natural reaction, trying to be
Right.
a
Well,
zombie.
yeah, I was trying to come at her with my hands, but she was shoving it. She was shoving that thing in my face.
Did you give her a little
And we,
yelling at the end, like after?
no, we, no. A couple years ago, I did. She's on a she's on one of the DVDs where they have the actors from the movie talking about the film as the film's being played. And I'm listening to this thing one day, and she's going, "Man, look at that guy. He's moving so slow. I can't believe how slow he's moving." I mean, none of the other zombies are moving that slow, but him, he's got to move that slow. Well, I almost grabbed your ass.
You're lucky you were
I
moving
mean, it
that
was
slow for her. She wouldn't have made it till the end of the film.
yeah,
She
right.
wouldn't have had that big transition as a character, that development
But
that she needed if it wasn't for you.
but she had it in for me because I mean she was just going way overboard on how she really didn't like my the way I acted out the scene. But shit, if you only have one scene, you might as well stretch it out, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, how was it working with the other cast members? I mean, obviously, maybe you and her was a little different, but were you able to spend time with like Ken Foree and stuff like that?
No,
Or
none of them, none of them. It was just it was just that 3 hours in the area for the hideout, and then it was just like I said, you set up the camera, shoot the scene, set up the camera, shoot the scene, set up the camera, shoot the scene, set up the camera, shoot the scene. Thank you very much. You did a really good job, and I was out the door because I was on the street. That was it.
was
So that wasn't you that Peter and Stephen carried down and put in the hallway.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They laid me gently up against the walls. They should have just dropped me. I could take it, but it was
Surprised they
kind of
didn't just throw
silly,
you down the stairs.
right? Well,
yeah.
see, George told me I hadn't seen George until the 30th anniversary. It was that horror. I think it was a horror find in Adelphi, Maryland. Maybe it was a hotel on a college campus, and they had George Romero and the Night of the Living Dead people and the Day of the Dead people were in one room, and then um, the Dawn of the Dead people were all the cast members were in another room, and Dee Wallace was right next to me, and they had a bunch of other actors from different movies in that room.
I
So
got
that was the year that the action figures came out. So I signed an action figure ahead of time to George, Hare Krishna Zombie, and I got in line, and we had little name tags, and it just said Mike on the name tag. So I stood in line at George's autograph table, and he looks up at the table and he goes, "Oh, Mike, how you doing?" I said, "Pretty good, George. Hey," and I set the action figure down in front of him, and I said, "Could I trade this for a couple of autographs from you?" And he looks up at me and he goes, "I don't fucking believe it." He yells it. I don't fucking believe it. And he stands up and he grabs me in this big bear hug and he almost pulls me across the table and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I said I didn't recognize you." So it's okay, George. It's been 30 years. I mean, I hadn't been to any of the other conventions. Just out of the blue, he sees me at his convention table, and his agent, Chris Rowe, he didn't even bother telling him that I was there or anything. And Chris Rowe hates the zombie. We're not allowed to go to any of the major horror conventions.
That's
We're
crazy.
we're
I mean,
banned.
was it because you guys just party too hard? Those zombies are just a little crazy off screen.
No, he doesn't think we
Go around
belong at the
biting
horror.
everybody.
He doesn't think
Uh,
we belong at the conventions because we aren't professional actors, and we don't have any lines in the movie. But what would Dawn of the Dead be without the zombie? I mean,
Exactly. Dawn of the what?
yeah, right, right.
Dawn of the
But
Mall. I mean, really.
Yeah, I got
That makes
into it
no
with.
sense.
I did a convention over in Germany a couple years back, and uh, I said to Galen, I said, man, I can't believe that Chris Rowe has us banned from all the Dawn of the Dead reunions. And she goes, oh, that's just that's just a rumor, you know, an urban legend. I think she said it was just an urban legend. I go, no, it's not an urban legend. I said, haven't have you seen a zombie at a Dawn of the Dead reunion in the last 5 years? She couldn't answer. You know, I said, well, no, you can't. You can't say that you've seen us because none of us have been there. Uh, all of the major horror conventions all across the United States, they haven't invited any of the zombies to any of the Dawn of the Dead reunions. It's all just the main characters. You know?
I
Yeah,
think
the
that's a
cast. Yeah,
disservice to
that's
the fans. That's a disservice to
Well,
the fans. And there's so much fun stuff you could do with having a reunion, not only the cast, but the Hare
yeah, well,
Krishna zombie. And
the
well,
cast
I mean,
photo,
I don't know.
the cast photos, everything. You know, but no, we're not allowed
yeah,
to
that
go.
makes no sense. That makes no sense to have no zombies there.
I mean, he
Well,
might not like it or consider it, but the fans do. I
well,
mean,
it's his power trip, man. It's his power trip. He was George Romero's convention agent, and he has Galen and Scotty and well, Flyboy. I guess Flyboy doesn't do conventions anymore, so it's just Galen, Scotty,
Oh, that
and
sucks.
Ken Foray, and Ken books himself.
oh, does he?
So
I'm going
yeah,
to actually see him at Crypticon in
yeah,
Minneapolis the month after Phantasm. So I'm excited about that for sure.
yeah. He's a good guy. I bump into him at the airport.
Oh, do you?
When- At the flying back and forth to the conventions, I usually end up seeing him at the airports too. Besides at the conventions, you know, he's a great guy.
So does he know you more now than he did when you were filming Dawn of the Dead in a sense? Because you didn't have,
Oh,
I mean, other than, yeah.
I didn't have any interaction with any of the actors when I was filming at all. None whatsoever.
So
I mean,
I bet
they
you
were
grew
all
on them too as actors and them being in the film. And I know all the actors seem to embrace being in Dawn of the Dead with George Romero, a George Romero film. And I gotta imagine when they see you, it's almost kind of exciting for them to see you too, because you were
well
such a memorable zombie in the movie. At least I think so.
a little bit. We don't, you know, they're all professional actors, and they've all been going to conventions for years and years, for decades, you know. And then I just appeared on the scene in the last 10 years. I mean, we say hi and stuff, you know. I mean, Scotty and Flyboy and Ken Foray were a lot more fun than Galen.
That's what I've heard. I mean, that was kind of the documentary I watched. They really delved deep in it. It was a really good documentary on YouTube. I was like, wow, that's
Yeah,
really interesting stuff.
She's
Where the
nice. I
yeah,
guys
met
kind of,
her here in Connecticut. At
she's not.
Connecticut Horror Fest, I met her.
Yeah, she's not real fan oriented. Like if the convention's not doing so well, she won't even show up on Sunday. Because I've
that's
talked to a bunch of people who said, yeah, the only day I could make it was Sunday, and I came all the way over here just to see Galen. Well, she's gone.
that's too bad.
But everybody's got the right to be what they want to be, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
They
It's too
go,
bad because the fans. I mean, um, one of the things I love about putting on convention tables and doing it is even like with stuff like by Vinny and art by Michael Toth and some of the ones you've seen. It just seeing the excitement of the fans going, oh, ooh, ooh, this and then when you get into a line and you see the interactions with the celebrities and the fans, I find it so much fun. You can just see in their eyes when they have a great experience. There was one that I could example of. One guy bought a lamp that Vinny made, a Halloween 3 lamp, and Tom Atkins was there and he got the lamp sign. I even put it on. I got it on video, and just the excitement and the enthusiasm. You know which one I'm talking about,
yeah,
Vinny. The dude was almost out of breath. He was just so excited. And then I've seen, and I won't mention any names, but I have more fun at horror conventions than say Comic Con, comic book conventions, because I deal with special needs, and some of the celebrities, I've seen them just treat some people just horribly, and it's just a shame when somebody gets so excited to meet somebody and they have that bad experience. But then you have those experiences with the ones who are good to you. It it makes a big difference to fans. So it's important to have those good interactions, because when you have the bad ones, it goes a long way, especially in conventions. I don't, like I said, I wouldn't mention any names, but I know a few that people were like, devastated that it's like, I'm getting spent all this money to come see this person and just treat you like a jerk.
I know.
I've never had that experience with anybody I've met.
That's because you're Vinny.
It's always been cool.
Because you're Vinny.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's. I mean, there was one that I heard about. You know who I'm talking about. People said, "Oh, he's a prick," and he's just. I met him. He was fine. I talked to him. We got, he didn't seem that way, and
I've seen it more at the comic conventions. The horror conventions, I've had nothing but great experiences with the celebrities, and any of the fans or any of the celebrities that's been to any event. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, but comic,
it's different with horror.
A lot different.
Yeah, you think
are a lot different, man.
Oh, horror conventions are the best, man. And
the horror community is a tight community.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody pretty much gets along. But when you start getting into the comic books, it's a lot of cosplay going on there, and that story they'll get into an argument and a fist fight over a Batman story.
Right.
It's like
I remember we were sitting at a table. This guy's all dressed up, and the dude's like, "Oh man, that's a badass sword." He's like, "It's not a sword; it's a saber." He got all mad.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's exactly what I mean. It's all politically correct.
Well, the one guy I work with who looks like Super Mario. He has a resemblance. He would, put on his hat.
A broom.
Somebody was dressed up like Luigi. I'm like, hey, look at your brother, and you got like this stuck-up, terrible attitude. And I've only experienced it at Comic Cons, and it seems like there's always a bunch. And at horror conventions, I meet some of the best people I've ever met, and it's fun sitting at a table and having all these displays and people coming over and interacting. I can only imagine on your end, being the Hare Krishna or zombie, and people are, fanboying or fangirling over you of something that you did 40 years ago. Legacy.
Well, I got to be honest. There's a lot of people that don't at the horror conventions. A lot of people that don't know my character, and a lot of people that aren't that familiar with Dawn of the Dead. Now, the people that are familiar with it, they're incredible. But there's a lot of people that I don't know what the deal is. I have offered to sign T-shirts. If somebody's wearing a Dawn of the Dead T-shirt, I'll offer to sign it for free. I go, hey man, Dawn of the Dead. All right, nice T-shirt. I'll sign it for free. And people go, oh no thanks.
Like who the hell are you? Probably younger people too, right?
Actually, I got to grab some because Fright Rags just re-released some Dawn of the Dead T-shirts recently, like the other day.
Mine,
they didn't do yours. I was a little disappointed. No. I'll put in a customer complaint for you.
Yeah, there you go.
You mentioned Dawn of the Dead. Now they're thinking remake.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people, the younger generation, they have no idea about what Dawn of the Dead was and how it was back then. And
well, that's because it's not on streaming and it's not on Netflix and it's nowhere. I mean, it shows on BBC Two sometimes, but some of my friends over in the UK will send me a screenshot of the TV guide. It flashes up on the screen and it'll say, 10 p.m. Dawn of the Dead, 1978 George Romero, but it's not the guy that owns the movie. He doesn't let it play over here. You have to buy it, and he even put out a 3D version of it.
Yeah,
spent $6 million on a 3D version, and you never see it.
Yeah. I was curious about that because it's like, you can find Night of the Living Dead anywhere, you can find Day of the Dead anywhere, but when it comes down to Dawn of the Dead 78, you can't find it half the time.
Just my luck.
Yeah, it's a shame because I mean, as a kid, I remember watching it, and like you said, it's harder to find it. It had been some years, and then I was like, I got my Christopher, and I always had good memories of the film because as a 70s, 80s kid, the mall was always big back then. And then arcade games as a kid, when you guys got to go in, when they went in and they were playing the arcade games as a ColecoVision for me at Christmas and whatnot. And I always found that fun, which is what I love about the mall setting for Dawn of the Dead. There's just, as a kid, there's so many things that you wish you had, like a kid in a candy store, basically, in that
Right.
mall.
Well,
And,
that was the technology of the day. Malls were just starting.
Yeah.
You know, and so they kind of went in that direction of the day. Like now today, things will be cyber things and stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of that computer stuff you see.
Strip mall.
Yeah, you know.
I was actually, like I was saying earlier, and I definitely want to talk to you about it because Vinny, you thought it was pretty good. I brainstormed an idea that I thought would be hilarious and you'd be perfect for it. And I actually ran it by Michael Toth too. Just some of the ideas he thought it'd be hilarious. It's something I'd love to talk to you about. I think you'd dig it. I do.
Right.
You could make a movie that would last 3 days because the ideas for that to just have the Hare Krishna zombie just on a trek across the country. And just, you know what I mean? And just going through different.
Yeah, that was basically the concept. I even thought of some scenes already that would be hilarious. It's just my biggest disappointment with your character was it felt like I'm waiting for him. He should have gotten up. So I had a little idea that I'd love to run through you that I was brainstorming, get some writing going. I think it'd be great to have a little Krishna revival.
The guy that owns the movie owns the character.
Well, we don't have to say it's that, or we don't have to use it. We can always, little adjustments.
Right.
Little adjustments.
Yeah, I just want to let that out.
Fan film goes a long way. We talk about it off screen, but I think you'd love the idea. I think it'd be something so much fun, and it opens up for so much hilarity that you could really do.
Yeah.
National Lampoon style. Kind of funny, but with a little horror element with it too.
Some of the shit we were talking about, man, was funny.
Yeah. It started coming. It's like, man, and you were such a perfect zombie. It would play so well. It just really would. It would play so well.
Just walking around and just looking around.
Yeah. It's
each world.
Right.
You were the zombie back in 78, 79, but you survived until 2022.
44 years later, out of a coma.
This is what you've been doing. Well, yeah, after Roger hit you.
Well, he didn't kill me.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So he survived.
Right.
So you've been wandering the country for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
40 years, whatever it's been.
I think it'd be a fun fan project, indie type deal that would be just hilarious. You could almost do episodics that it would be just so funny, man. I think it'd be some really just open up so much hilarity. It just be I don't know. To me, I think it's hilarious. Me and Vinny were talking some things, and he thought it was. He seemed to enjoy it. I kind of mentioned to Michael Toth a few things. He thought it was hilarious. He's like, "Oh, there's so much you could do with that."
Yeah,
there really is. We'll talk more about it. I definitely would be interested.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, it might be a paying gig. I'd definitely be down to fund and get that written out and just have a lot of fun with it. I think it'd be a blast.
Cool.
You wouldn't even have to think about the writing of it. Just think of all kinds, like him walking.
Like you said, it would be from your eyes almost, your perspective. 44 years later. Balls aren't open.
I did a zombie walk in Orlando once for Spooky Empire, and too bad I was kind of playing with the people in traffic and doing some stuff, and I ended up wandering back towards the end of the line, and I walked into this Italian restaurant, and they had a revolving door, and I went around the revolving door about 3 or 4 times, and then I walked into the front area of the restaurant, and the maitre d' looked at me, and he couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, and he left. He left and went back into the restaurant for, I guess, just to get away from me. So I walked over to the maitre d's booth, and I stood there while the customers were coming in,
just looking at him.
It's like a Hare Krishna zombie, People were going. And they're sitting down, waiting. They're sitting down waiting for their table to be called, and I'm just standing there at the booth, just looking around, going.
That's awesome. That's epic.
Yeah, I wish I would have had that on a video of that.
I'd
I'd love to
definitely
see
like to talk about. I'd love to see. I'd love to see Rise of the Krishna. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that'd be so great because it just left such an open-ended thing that you were such a
Yeah.
great zombie in it. With the way the world is today, there's so many funny situations you could accidentally walk into.
Endless.
Yeah.
So it's comedy gold. It's comedy
It is
gold
endless.
with some more.
The possibilities are just endless. That's why
Oh,
I
I
said
was in tears.
movie, you could do a marathon. You could actually turn it into a series.
Yeah,
Meet
that's what.
Elizabeth-
That's what.
Meet Elizabeth Warren, Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Like I had some ideas I'll run through you that would be funny. And
Right.
those were some of the situations I was thinking too. Like you could walk through a protest or something and just not even know, walk by a mall, be kind of looking around like,
Shit in
because
the background burning.
Right.
Just walking by.
it'd be selling incense still with the
Tambourine. You can hear the tambourine coming, jingling in the background.
Right.
There'd be some
Walk
funny stuff.
Walk past a burning police station.
There
I
you
think
go.
it'd be great. I think it'd be great. I think
it would be
people would love it.
Trump rally. That would be
I think
cool.
I think it'd be. I think it needs to be done. I think it'd be a shame not to, because there's just so much comedy, especially in today's society, that
Yeah.
being walking through and not even having to say anything almost adds to hilarity, and just with the way you portrayed it.
It would be kind of in the George Romero way, because George Romero made movies like when he did Night of the Living Dead, he put a black lead back in back in '68, and when he made Dawn of the Dead, he capitalized, well, not capitalized, but he brought in the mall and things of the day. So now, so many years later, you can incorporate the things of the day into that. That would be the story, really.
And the fact that you're out of place.
The zombie would be the observer, and then at the end of the movie, the zombie could probably hang himself or something. Because screw this.
I have an idea for the ending. I mentioned it to you, and I mentioned it to you, right, Vinny? I think that would be the ultimate ending if we did go that way. But I'd want to leave it open ended in case people really liked it to continue on with a season 2 or a sequel.
You better hurry up and do it because I believe Dawn of the Dead's a prophecy, and I think it's coming. It's coming right around the corner here.
Yeah, it might be a reality. We'll see Michael Christopher with a tambourine around him, and he'll really be a zombie this time.
Right, an assault tambourine.
Yeah, the way things are going, you never know. But I think it'd be the type of movie that a kind of comedy that I think needs to kind of come back, the slapstick, more comedy, but well thought out comedy where it's actually just, it's funny. Slapstick, but funny too.
Cool.
But yeah. Well, it's been awesome having you on. I'm not going to tie you up too long, Mike. I cannot wait to meet you again at Phantasm. We're going to have a blast.
I got to hit the liquor cabinet again.
Oh, there you go, man. I'm at work. I can't. I'm drinking the Monster just to keep up.
Right. You're at work, huh?
I work 7 days a week, 24/7. Every once in a while, after that. Yeah. I love it. It's good, though. It keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I do trouble, but it's just.
Well, it also saves you a ton on rent.
Well, honestly, it does. It does in a sense, but it allows me to do what I really want to do with this Doomsday Krypt thing and these conventions and showing off talented people like Vinny and Michael Toast, and it's my pastime to do. So
well, you got your thing going. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it, man.
It's been great hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure for me.
Yeah, sure. If you want to do it again, just let me know, huh?
Absolutely. If I wish you weren't working weekends, I'd have you come on with me while I was with Beatrice. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, what on Sunday?
On Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. It'd be your 6:30 your time.
Yeah, I might be able to drop in for a quick few minutes.
Yeah, you'd be welcome to. I'm sure she'd love to say hi to you. You'll be seeing her at Phantasm.
Phantasm, yeah, right.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to, Mike. It's been awesome talking to you. I'd love to talk more.
Yeah, just send me a link. I've got a job where I could sneak in a minute or two here and there.
That'd be perfect, man. I'll give you the link, and I can always add you if you have to pop in and out. Boss comes by. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I'll let you know off camera what's going on, and then maybe we could do something.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I much appreciated the legend, the Hare Krishna from Dawn of the Dead '78. I think almost everybody's favorite zombie that's a zombie fan.
Well, thanks for digging me up, man.
Hey, we enjoyed digging you up and having you on here and speaking with you. And I'll see you soon, and we'll talk, I guess, after the stream also.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Vinny.
You too, Mike. It's been my pleasure.
All right, man. Me too. Take care, guys.
Take care, everybody. Thanks, chat.